Morning, everyone. This is the Power Prophet, Dr. Akila Kamaat, coming at you live this morning. I like to do the lives because it allows you for more time in your video and your reel. Although I'm still trying to figure out how all this works, and I've been doing this for quite some time. I was motivated and moved by my spirit guides and ancestors and the divine cosmic consciousness, as well as through the collective consciousness, to come back and talk a little bit about the idea of leaps of faith. I talked about it in an earlier reading or an earlier message that there is a time to take a leap of faith. And some people feel this timing, and they intuitively and through their spiritual connection decide to move or transform and transition into a space that may be completely unfamiliar to them. But through their downloads and their belief and the messages they've been receiving, they have decided to step out in a different direction, different from where they were. And as I said, completely different. Well, not completely, because everything that we do on our journey makes up who we are as we move forward, as we build our understanding of our spiritual awareness and of our identity. Our identities still exist in these spaces and places that have been part of our past and that propel us to the present and move us into the future. Now, this leap of faith, I just want to add on to this idea. Many of you know that I started, and as you can see through my whole trajectory here on Instagram, right? Dr. Akila Kamaat at one time didn't even know how to pronounce her own new name. But I traveled from doing readings without showing my face, and then I moved into this happy, hey, yo, rah, morning affirmation space. And then I started reading cards in this space and collective consciousness and messages to individuals I felt that needed to hear something. And then something phenomenal happened. I don't know what else to say, but I felt increased energetically, transmorphically. I just felt different. And that came through studying, applied metaphysics. As some of you know, I am en route to getting my PhD in metaphysics, metaphysical counseling, and become a referent of metaphysics. Me, of all people, right? I mean, for some people who know me, they'd be like, what the hell is going on with Jennifer Warren? Old. But the Dr. Akila Kamaat that I am, through these meditative downloads, I've been or have been striving to take leaps of faith. And I just want to talk about that transition movement into the new, into what you feel you're being purposed or told your individuated purpose on this life is. Now, you take that leap of faith. That doesn't mean all of a sudden a new day dawns, you're walking in your purpose. Everything is happening. Your passions and purposes are rolling in prosperity of relationships and money and just all kind of fruit. No, it doesn't mean that at all. And I'm bearing witness to the journey as I journey. And in that leap of faith, you cannot lose faith, because sometimes you are told to go into spaces that you don't feel are just right. Now, I've been in one of those spaces recently I saw, ideas of homelessness, ideas of reaching out to women. I saw these messages as they downloaded in my meditation. And then I got an offer to work at a residential life homeless shelter for mothers with young children. I got to say it was pure hell. I'm not going to lie. Now I'm coming from $100,000 plus paycheck to a maybe $34,000 a month, or $58,000 paycheck, like a 3/4 reduction. And what I was making, if more. But it wasn't just the money, because I knew perhaps there would be a pay cut. But I saw the connection between the homelessness and where I was. And while I was receiving lots of information, I didn't understand my purpose in that space. And I told the staff, as I, walked in as a supervisor, I told the staff that I don't know what my purpose is here, but I'm sure it would reveal itself. I was there for they wanted me to do some ridiculous things, like kick some homeless woman out the second day of my job, which I had of course I was not going to do that. What? That was just a ridiculous ask. And, I responded in a highly professional manner with a little refinement from ChatGPT that no, I was not here to set up this situation of kicking out, and I'm not going to be the one to distribute this punishment, so to speak. But I was in this space, and the first thing that I felt was stress. A lot of stress. As time went on, I saw myself moving more away from those things which brought me peace, my meditation, my metaphysical studies, my lives, my messages, from what I heard the ultimate purpose was, right? The ultimate purpose is something I know. I don't share that macro vision the guides gave me. But I met a woman there who was going through a lot with these individuals. She didn't trust anybody. And somehow we made this intuitive connection, this quantum entanglement that was so profoundly real, that at that moment in time I knew that my purpose was not so much to stay in that situation, although, believe me, I need the money, but it was to assist this woman in realizing her worth and her value as a woman, as a powerful woman, to give her things that could help her, negotiate the trauma she has been in for her whole life. And she began to acquiesce to the rules, so to speak, of the game of being homeless in a shelter. And there are rules of the game of being homeless in a shelter that are so inhumane. Maybe that too was part of the purpose, but I knew my purpose was to entangle myself, engage myself with this woman. And then I knew it was over. I felt a disconnect from that space. I resigned. Look, I'm not laughing because, of any other reason other than the fact that I was probably there a month and a half. I got her to fulfill the rules of the game of being homeless. And I'm saying that with facetiousness and sarcasm. because I've never seen human suffering on this level, and the way in which these individuals who are so vulnerable with their little babies are treated. Now, that is not my purpose necessarily to go into homeless communities and shelters and work per se, but I found a voice and an understanding of myself that I have a gift to engage with people who are seriously hurting. Communicate care and compassion. And many of these women have never experienced care. There was one woman, when I was talking to her, she asked me, "Are you being sarcastic? You're talking to me like you're being sarcastic." And I was just talking to her like, I communicate like to everyone here. And I said to her, and I didn't laugh, and I shouldn't be laughing now because this is serious. I said to her, "Has anybody ever shown you care in your life?" And she said, "No." I said, "Do you know what caring looks like?" She said, "No." I said, "Well, this is what care and compassion looks like." So the leap of faith was not so much to take a job that was in no way, shape, or form able to sustain me in my practice, in my movement toward my macro goal, and in financial. It was for me to exemplify what care and compassion look like, and to connect with a woman who has never had a connection, a real connection, ever, an authentic connection, I should say, almost spiritual, with no one. And she had great happiness. And I'm not saying I'm the one that did this. I'm saying I put myself in a space and place where the divine cosmic consciousness could work through me. I could exist in my higher mind. And I don't think the higher ups like this very much, the administrators, because I then asked for more money because the job description was misleading. And then I gave my resignation because that little extra $1,000 that I asked for was not coming. But that wasn't for that. And I was in my ego in part of this. And this is all an ongoing issue, an ongoing sort of conflict, the ego versus the higher mind. And the ego is our perceptions and assumptions and beliefs that are given to us by society, by which we walk and work and play and love in, right? And then the higher mind is something completely different. It's like a connection, a synergy with your spiritual guides, your ancestors, the divine cosmic consciousness, God, universal life force, whatever you want to call it. But my message here is that the leap of faith may not look like you think it should look. And it may not be for you. You are the instrument by which the divine works to heal and help others. And additionally, for me, the witness of the horrific conditions in which homeless moms and children, babies, like infant, newborn to like 6, 10, live in, and the rules from social services. I mean, it's like a cycle of poverty is ingrained in the American psyche. It's like there has to be poor people. And now I can get all into that using my academic brain because that's where I existed for the last 25 years of my life. But I'm not going to get into the caste or caste system that's here in America. All I do know is that as psychics, as spiritual guides, as alternative healers, we have a responsibility not just to throw down cards, flip up an oracle card, right? And assume that, oh, everything's okay. You got the message. You're happy. Boom, boom, bang, bang, bang. Close. Next case. You need to understand there's context. And some of the people that may reach out to you need more. And you have to be able to hear the more. But I'm digressing. The leaps of faith are part of the journey. And there can be a perfect plug-in leap. I've seen, look, I listen to the Gaia station and on Apple, and it's just like, oh my God, all these people have like plugged in. They're all like high-minded. They're all like having these visions where they're floating up in the air and they're doing somersaults and they're like, just stuff that is not unrealistic, but for regular folk, come on now. These things do not seem achievable. But what is achievable is your own spiritual connection and your capacity to hear your purpose and to understand what your next steps are and to believe that whatever that next step is you take is from your higher mind, guided by your synergy with the divine cosmic consciousness. Again, God, universal life force, whatever it is that you call your connection. It's not going to be perfect all the time, probably most of the time, but it is part of that transformative walk that leap of faith is supposed to do. We can't have a transformative walk if we're waiting for the perfect opportunity to come. That's ego. We can't have a transformative leap of faith if we on the other side think that, oh my God, this is horrible. I'm going to go back to academia. I just threw up in my mouth thinking about going backwards. I cannot. You cannot. Understand why you're in that purpose, in that place, in that space, in that time. On the other side of that, on that transformative leap, on the other side of that leap, right? It's still transformative. The transformation never stops. And we're all not freaking gurus. We're all not masters. Yeah, I feel like now I'm ascending spiritual master. Not because somebody freaking told me, but because of my communication with my divine cosmic consciousness. So I claim what I'm told individually, in confidence, in meditation. As you should too. A leap of faith is personal. The transformation on which you on is personal. It's not something that you yell out to everybody, but you sure can share your experiences about what that transformative, I see it as a curve, right? Because it's part of a circle of a completion. I felt like the karmic residue or stuff that was hanging on to me in that space and place, and with those connection with those moms, and understanding and giving and helping to the best of my ability in time that I was there. I felt all that yucky karma that I had built up from doing just messed up things to people in my past. And all of the ilky feelings that I had from the past. I knew in that experience that I was released from that karmic cycle. The one that I had created through just living in the ego and not giving a crap about anybody but me. We cannot exist like that. We cannot exist apart from each other. We cannot exist by not caring. Especially now, especially especially in this time. I threw down my own personal reading cards this morning. And this is not, a total message to you all, but as I was sitting there meditating on the cards, I had this moment of connection with the collective consciousness. And it was that we need each other. And I talk about systems now, breaking the systems from inside. The most powerful system is you, because you will see as time goes on, the breakthrough is not in these external things that we believe will maintain our lives. If we wait for that, we could be waiting until we're dead, this planet is blown the frick up, and something new is started. We cannot wait for that. We are the new systems. Each individual is an authentic piece of the cosmos. And we must rebuild our humanity. We must rebuild it one person at a time, 2 people at a time, 3 people, a group of people. We must rebuild our collective humanity, not in the consciousness, but in real time. Because the only way, and this is through my transformative leaping here. I'm guided to do these lives, not by my own choice, but just by something on my heart saying talk. The only way we're going to survive is by realizing the power that you have and that I have and that we all have together, because we are connected at an atomic level, and we have the power to move this space and place that is a condensed version of somebody's ideology and beliefs. These systems are somebody's idea of what we're supposed to have. We have the capacity collectively. When you get into a message, all kind of interference starts coming in, and you got to understand it as interference. We are the most powerful system together. But first, we have to understand our power within ourselves and break those systems that bind, that stop us from taking that leap of space, that walk into a place that is unfamiliar to us, but that is for us. Sometimes it means giving up things. You give them up if that's what you're told to do. Because sometimes those things have driven you crazy. Sometimes those things have made me feel like I'm having a nervous breakdown every month. To the point where my nephew's calling the suicide hotline. To the point where I had to take off work for a year because I was so depressed and anxious. Because I wasn't listening. I was in my ego, my identity defined by these external systems. No more. We define who we are. And then collectively, we utilize the power that we have within ourselves to break through the bullshit that has been punched into our being from the moment we came out the womb. Breaking through that to gravitate toward each other and believe that at the atomic level, as quantum physics has already demonstrated, that we are connected not only to each other, but to every piece, immaterial, material, flora, fauna. We are embedded atomically. And on other levels, which is another discussion. But we are enmeshed, quantum entangled with everything. Everything. We are everything. People talk about the butterfly effect. What happens in a storm in Texas causes a flood in so-and-so. But think about the butterfly effect When we start believing our power, when we start walking in our power, when we start taking leaps of faith to remove the systems that bind us. Think about the power, the butterfly effect, when we start to connect with people and more people and more people and understand our embeddedness. Think about the butterfly effect and how that has a capacity, whether you know it or not, to make fundamental changes in our social realities, and the spiritual reality in which we are all embedded. Now, I've been running my mouth nonstop, but let me tell you, maybe there's some people, some persons, and thank you so much for the law of attraction sitting through this today. There are people that need to hear this. There are people who are beginning to wake up. I talked about an evolution that is happening in the mind, a psychic evolution that was not really engaged with. Not that I care. I don't do this for likes and follows. I do this fundamentally because I'm called to. Secondly, because it's me paying forward information that I may have that may be useful to someone else. But you know, I do this because, look, and I lost my train of thought, which means it's lifted. The download is gone, but we can't manifest anything in our lives like the law of attraction if we're not vibrating at a level at which we can get into a space. It's about vibrating high, and we cannot when we are stuck and entrenched in our ego and in systems and don't understand that we together are the most powerful system, and that we together can attract through these vibrations, these high vibrations that move throughout the collective consciousness in humanity on the ground and above, that we can attract a reality that for some may seem illusionary, like Captain Kirk. Whenever he went into some paradise, he wanted to destroy it. It's not some automaton paradise where people are being infected by frickin' flowers or some outside external source. No, it's a peace and paradise from understanding your divine connection, understanding the need to connect, vibrating high, living in your higher mind. When you vibrate high, you vibrate on the capacity of the things you want to manifest. And that's a whole nother discussion that I bet the law of attraction, the wonderful, wonderful person sitting in this live can tell much more about than I can. And let me see the name so I can get it right. Excuse me, I need my glasses. Law of Attraction 2199-3. And I'm sure those numbers have significance as a numerologist myself. Anyway, look, I'm heading off today to go do the things that I feel I'm purposed to do. And one of them is try to find some way to make some income. Because I was reading my cards and it was like, give up everything, or I'm living above my means. Yeah, some of us do that. And that's what makes it hard to make the leap. Somehow you got to make it work. And it will work. But you got to do the work. And you got to be diligent in the work every day. All day. All day. Do you know how many times I got to remind myself to be in my higher mind? Do you know how many times I got to tell myself to vibrate high? Do you know how many times I read the book, The Law of Attraction? A chapter over and over and over and over again. It takes work, but it's worth it. I am the Power Prophet, Dr. Akala Kamaat, and I feel blessed for anyone looking at this video today. And I thank you for your time and attention. And I just hope that I can inspire and motivate people to feel and live in their higher mind and spiritual connection. And if you ever want to reach out to me, my information is there. I'm here. I'm here. Horton here's a who, right? We're here. I'm here. Be blessed in your day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you.